Hi everyone, hope we're all well. We've got Lost RNF Retro today. So this is 6'2", 22 and a quarter, 2 3/4 and 43.5 litres. So this is actually a stock board. I deliberately went pretty high on the volume on this because I want it as another groveler. Just want it as an alternative to my beanbag, like a fishy alternative. And winter's coming on, we're going to be getting into 3-2 wetsuits, hoods, gloves and all the gear. So yeah, I deliberately ordered it a bit up. So this is Matt Biolis's take on a bit of a retro fish, but with some performance added to it. It's probably worth mentioning it's a little bit different to the puddle fish. It's definitely got a more of a retro vibe to it, and it's definitely more speed and very easy paddling, very user friendly. We'll talk about the ride some more later, but yeah, so this is basically a fish that would be very versatile. It's designed for anyone really to use. An advanced and intermediate could use it and really love it. Guys who absolutely rip would really like this in small waves in the small size. It's got some really cool features that give it that bit of extra performance over your standard retro fish. So shape wise, we've got the usual quite big nose. It's fairly wide in the middle, and the big difference at the back is probably this side cut to step. It's basically a double step. It's a double step, so you keep in the deep swallow that traditional retro fish has, but they would usually come out a bit flatter and the rails would stay quite parallel. This has really been tweaked to give this side cut feature here, and then the second step, that's just to take the volume away in the tail and allow you to really still be able to turn it when the opportunity arises. So yeah, it's a really interesting shape. It's a very versatile board. As we can see, rocker's fairly flat, but there's actually a little bit of a kick in the nose, and the tail's not crazy wide. The whole shape is wide, but it's not like mega wide like the beanbag or anything. So yeah, ride wise, we had quite a good spell of surf, and I sort of ridden this in a bit of everything, and I was quite surprised actually, because it paddles really good. It's really easy to get into waves on, and it's just instant speed the minute you stand up. I've mainly been riding the split keels. I'll show you guys through my fin recommendations later, but I've been riding this with the split keels, and I found it's got grip, it's got drive. What surprised me about this was it just takes off. It's like you don't need to do hardly anything in the way of pumps or anything to generate speed. It carries speed all the way through its turns. It's got lots of flow. It's got a really beautiful, soulful retro vibe that you really want out of the retro fish, but when you're linking those turns together and you get a section that you can hit a bit harder, it's actually quite surprising how well it responds. So I was pretty blown away with that, and it's actually got quite a wave range. I've ridden it in knee high to definitely overhead, like well overhead, and they were the waves were kind of, it'd been onshore, so it was kind of like junky, and then there were a few clean sections. So yeah, it's an easy paddling board. It's got lots of volume in it. I can duck dive it fine. Realistically, I could have gone for the size below, but say I'll be appreciating this extra volume in the winter when I've got all my wetsuits and everything on. And as I say, having the beanbag as my mega grovel, I really just wanted a fishy option pretty similar, so that's why I went for this. So yeah, that's most of the features. As I say, this tail design and the concaves are kind of the special sauce in this board, but it's definitely got that super retro vibe. Say the puddle fish I've had as well, and that's quite different. That's more like a puddle jumper, and that actually performs fairly well and goes into a bit bigger wave. But this is really carvy. It's got that flow. It just carries its speed really well, and it's a really fun and really enjoyable experience and ride. The The rails do actually pinch down as it comes out to the edges, so I'll show you when I do the concaves, but all the way through back it basically starts thinning out here, so all the way through the back of the board it's got quite a full deck and then it pinches quite hard. Volume distribution wise, as you can see, there's a lot in the nose, probably more than I was even expecting, so this is like an incredible paddler. It's better. It's a better paddler than I was expecting, so you know, if you're worried about sizing, I think you can be pretty safe sizing these at your, you know, don't blow up to the don't blow your grovel volumes right up to the absolute maximum literage. I would say you want to ride this in your grovel volume, and you know, if you're looking at sizing it's in between, you might be better going on the smaller side. You know, good guys will be riding these tiny. This is great for me because I actually wanted something that had a bit of length and will trim, paddle really well, so yeah, it does all those. One big thing about these boards, you could probably ask for it if you're getting it custom, but they basically come as a dedicated quad, and that's the way the board's been designed, and that's the way the concaves have been designed to suit. And I think that's one of the things that I actually really like about it, because I like quads and it's obviously been designed to be a quad, so I think that suits me very well. Just let you have another look at the rocker. So there's actually a little bit of nose rocker, and you'll actually see a little bit of tail rocker and definitely a little bit of late flick in the tail. So you know, this is a board that does still perform a little bit, so if I'd have taken this in a 6.0 it would still paddle great, and it would probably actually rip quite hard as well. So yeah, definitely a really cool board to consider. Just show you through the concaves now, and then we will talk about fins, and we'll wrap up. So for concaves on the RNF Retro, we've got the tried and tested Matt Biolos formula of applying modern concave sensibly to the design to allow it to perform. So we've basically got the fairly standard single concave going through on the front foot to develop some speed, and then as we come out into the tail here we start to get double concave once we hit the front fins, and then all the way through to the back fins, and then just after the back fins here we start getting into V, just to allow that to initiate the turns really easily. And if I turn this round here you'll see how extreme that little flick is off the last piece of panel there. So yeah, as we've discussed a few times before, the V in the back basically allows the tail to already rock quite easily, because you've already taken a lot of the resistance out, so it's already on its way rolling over to where you want to be turning to. So again, the stringer rocker stays relatively straight, and the rail rocker can accelerate off the back, which is allowing us to turn a lot easier. And as you can see as well, with the combination of the double step down and the side cut in here, you've also got a nice finning of the tail, so it's actually still possible to bury this. Even at this volume, you feel super nice and super cruisy, and then when you step on it, it's actually surprising what it'll do performance wise as well. So yeah, that's the concave. So for my fin recommendations for the RNF Retro, I personally will just be using these split keels mainly. I'm very used to those, really like them. They give me good drive, they turn really well, they're really good with this board. If you're a little bit lighter you might want to try different things, but what a lot of people will be doing, which I sort of did as well, is they'll deliberately be buying this board or similar boards that are a fish but they're not locked in with just a twin or just the keel option. So this board will actually give you the opportunity to have a board that's versatile and will ride everything, but you can also try a keel, or you can try these 2+1. So basically what we got here is this is the FCS2 modern keel. I find this really good because it's a big template and it's quite deep. A lot of the older style keels are a lot shallower and a lot longer, so they don't necessarily have good hold. This has got really good hold and good drive, and I could probably even go a little bit bigger than that for me, but it's a really good keel fin. It's got hold and it's got drive, and it still feels nice and loose. On the Twin Plus stabilizer front, the Power Twins I quite like. That's still quite a big template. That's the FCS2, and We've also got the Merrick's AM Twins, so if you want quite an upright and pivoty 2+1, there's those. And I've not tried it in this either, but in my Lost Beanbag I actually ride these AMTs with 2 rear trailers, so that's another thing you could always try if you wanted to. And again, if you were over in the futures fins, you could go with the equivalent of this would be, if you go Captain Finco, the equivalent of that would be the Chris Christensen. That's a good fin. You could go for a bigger one, you could go the Rob Machado's. The Al Merrick's keel is really good in the futures, that's a bigger template. Let me see, the K2 and the K1 are futures own ones. In this sort of a fin, you can go for the T1, which is a twin and stabilizer, and then Captain Finco do about 10 different twin and trailers. So yeah, you got the Chipper Wilsons, you've got their own ones, you've got I'm pretty sure there's all sorts of stuff. The Tyler Warrens, there's a crazy amount of twin and stabilizers. So yeah, that's the fin recommendations for this board. My recommendation is that would be good. The split keel would be really good for the bigger guys. My general recommendation is, if you've got lots of fins and you want to get a different feel out of your board and you enjoy that, try a few things, because it's definitely a board that will work with a bit of everything. So that's my fin recommendations for you. So that's the RNF Retro, super fun, really versatile fish. It's got that real nice retro soulful glide feel. It's got flow in the turns. It's great paddler, and it's still got some performance features in it. So in small to medium waves, it's just heaps of fun. You can play around with different fins. Yeah, it's just a cracking board. It's definitely one of my favourites. The feel of it definitely puts a smile on your face all the time. There's no drama whatsoever generating speed. The board just generates speed straight away on its own. So really user friendly, really intuitive. It's going to be fine for people who are still improving. You don't have to be a really good surfer, and it's not clunky like some of the retro fish. So yep, super great board. Thanks to Tommy Dalton and the boys up at the Boardroom Gisborne for knocking me out of beauty with these nice resin tints. Tommy's always great to deal with. And yeah, that's it. We'll see you again soon.